Hello everyone. In this session, we will discuss TestNG. So let's understand what is a TestNG. TestNG is an open source automated testing framework. Actually, this is a testing framework and it is a open source automated testing framework. TestNG, the TestNG, NG actually stands for next generation. TestNG just like similar to the JUnit. But it is not a extension of JUnit, we can say, but it is inspired by the JUnit because TestNG designed to cover all categories of test like unit test, functional test, and integration test. So we have JUnit. In JUnit, using JUnit, we can write a unit testing. But TestNG is designed to cover all category. Using TestNG, we can cover all category of test like unit test case, functional test case, and integration test case. So TestNG is a open source automated testing framework where NG stands for next generations. Let's understand major feature of TestNG from the Selenium perspective. Actually, TestNG helps to produce HTML report after every test execution. So using TestNG, we can generate HTML report also after every test execution. And annotation makes the method easier to differentiate. TestNG will provide lot of annotations. We will discuss each annotation. So grouping and prioritization of test can be done to control execution flow of test cases. And data can be parameterized using different built-in annotation. Parallel execution of test method is also possible. So first of all, we try to understand how we can use TestNG and how we can install the TestNG and how we can create a setup. So first of all, we try to understand how we can create a project and how we can set up TestNG. So let's here we are going to create first project here, and here I'm going to create Maven based project. Let's understand how we can create a Maven based project. So let's understand what is a Maven. Maven is nothing. Maven is a build tool for project management. It is a build tool for project management. It means you can create a project using Maven. So Maven is a build tool which helps to manage your project. So how we can create Maven based project? So open the Eclipse IDE. In the Eclipse IDE, there is option file. Go to the file and there is option new. And here you can select Maven project. If you are not able to find out here Maven project, then you can go to the directly other option. Click on other option and here you can search Maven. And now you can select Maven project. Then you can click on next button. And now once you click on next button, it will ask to create a simple project. So now we want to create a simple Maven project. You can check this checkbox and then you can click on next button. Now, once you click next button, it will ask for group ID and artifact ID. Let's understand what is a group ID and artifact ID. Group ID means actually if you are developing a project for any organizations for which organization you are developing a project or for which domain you are developing the project, you can give that name of the organization or your domain name. Second one, we have artifact ID. Artifact ID means your project name. It means you want to create an application or project name with what name you can give that name in the artifact ID. So here I have give the group ID like com.example as per demo purpose. So my group ID suppose com.example and now artifact ID I have given testng training training. So now then you can click on a finish button. Now we click on a finish button. So once you click on a finish button, now you can check here, Maven will create one project for you. So one project is created here in the project explorer. You can check here, one project is created with name TestNG training. Now once you expand this project, you can check here, Maven will provide it actually several folder and files. So it means when you create a Maven based project, Maven will provide one complete project structure. So here we have created one project with name TestNG underscore training. So now it will create several folders. Let's understand all the folder structure. So under that we have one folder src main Java. It means if you want to create any Java file, any Java source file, all the Java source file we need to place, all Java source file we need to place under src main Java. All Java source file we need to place under src main Java. So Maven will provide one project structure. You have not need to maintain this project structure. Once you create a Maven project, Maven automatic will create this folder structure for you. Now we have another folder here, src. You can check it src main resources, src main resources. So under src main resources, if you require any resource file for your Java source file, you can place all the resource files under src main resources, like any properties file, any file that you have required for your project, you can place under src main resources file. Then we have one folder src main test Java. So under src test Java, we have need to place all the test files. If you want to create any test class, so all the test classes you need to place under src test Java. So if you are creating any test classes, whatever test classes that needs to be created for your project, you need to place all those test classes under src test Java. Then we have one more folder, src test resources, src test resources. So it means any resources file required for your test classes, those resources you can place under src test resources. It means any resources files required for your test classes or test class, those resources you can place under src test resource folder. Then we have one folder, like you can check a GRE system library. This GRE system library actually denoting which Java version you are using. In your project, which Java version you are using, it denoting that GRE. So here it's showing GRE 1.8. It means 1.8 version of Java we are using in our project. Okay, if you want to change the GRE, if you want to use based on your requirement, suppose in my system, I have Java 17. So I want to use the Java 17, then you can change this one. How we can change if you want to change? So right click on this GRE system library, and then you have option build path. Click on configure build path. You can select configure build path from the build path. After selecting the build path, now you can check here. Let's check here, there, here, here option we have remove. You can remove the library. Just click on the remove, and then here we have option add library. Click on add library option. Here you need to select GRE system library. Then you can click on next. In this system library, you can select execution environment. And now you can click in drop down list, and you can select which Java version you want to use. Here we want to use Java SE17. You can select that one, and then you can click on a finish button. Then you can apply and close. So once you apply and close, now you can check here GRE of system has been changed. Okay, after that, here we have one file that is a pom.xml file. POM stands for Project Object Model. Actually, this file is very important file for your Maven based project. Actually, this file contains all the project related configuration information. Now let's open this pom.xml file. In this pom.xml file, you can check here. This file is your project management file. It means whatever project related configuration information we have required, this file contains that information. So you can see this is a project is the root tag. Under this root tag, you can model version. What is the group ID for your project? Com.example. What is the artifact ID? TestNG underscore 10. What is the version of the project? So any configuration information for your project required, form.xml file, it contains that information. So now we have created our TestNG project. But here we need to use actually TestNG libraries, because if you want to work with TestNG, so you require TestNG libraries. So you have not need to download the TestNG libraries and not need to set into class path. If you are working with Maven based project, actually which dependency required? Actually, you are dependent on TestNG library before starting work with TestNG, because you can start work with TestNG if you have TestNG libraries. So it means you are dependent, your project has one dependency. Which dependency? TestNG. So if you're creating Maven based project, so go to the pom.xml file. In the pom.xml file, just tell which dependency you have required. Maven automatic download and will set into class path. As a programmer, you have not need to take care. So let's understand how we can use that dependency. So here you can check under pom.xml file, you can create one dependency section. You can check it, dependencies. Let's save this project. And now here we have dependency section. So here you can create one dependency section. Under that dependencies, you can write your dependency, whatever you have required. So let's understand we required which dependency. We have required TestNG dependency. So go to the Google, and actually here you can search Maven repository. So Maven will provide repository. In that repository, you can search whatever dependency you have required. So that open this Maven repository. This is a Maven repository. In this repository, you can search. I record which dependency TestNG. Just type and click on the search button. Now you can check it. Open that TestNG. Now open this dependency, and which version you want to use. You can select that version. You can select any one of the version as per your requirement. Once you click on that version, you can check. Just scroll down. Here it's showing this dependency. Now you can check this is a dependency. Dependency tag, under that dependency group ID. What is the group ID, artifact ID, and which version you are using. So you can copy this dependency and go to your project, under dependency section, you can paste that dependency. So here we have paste that dependency. You can check here which dependency we have paste. TestNG dependency we have paste. So this is a dependency. Once you add this dependency, automatic TestNG will download this dependency, and now you can check here after adding this dependency in your project. You can check here Maven dependency will be added. Now it contain your TestNG Maven dependencies. Okay, so now in this way we have need to add Maven dependency. So once you add your Maven dependency, now you are able to use the TestNG. So you need to add TestNG Maven dependency in pom.xml file. After adding the dependency, one more thing we need to do, we need to add plugin, TestNG plugin in my Eclipse ID. So how we can add plugin in my Eclipse ID? So go to the help menu. In the help menu, there is an option Eclipse Marketplace. You can click on the Eclipse Marketplace option, and now it will open Eclipse Marketplace. In this Eclipse Marketplace, you can search TestNG plugin. Actually, which plugin you require? You require TestNG plugin in your Eclipse ID. Because if you want to run a test cases in TestNG platform, then you have need to add TestNG plugin in your Eclipse ID. So if you want to add a TestNG plugins in your Eclipse ID, then go to the help menu of Eclipse ID, and from there you can search Eclipse Marketplace. After opening the marketplace, in the search bar you can search TestNG and just press enter. Once you search here, you can check it will showing option TestNG for Eclipse. So in my case, already we have installed, we have already added plugins. If plugin is not added, then it's showing install button, and then you can click on install button and you can add that TestNG plugin in your Eclipse ID. Now you can add the Eclipse ID, you can add TestNG plugin in your Eclipse ID and then restart your Eclipse ID once. After restarting your Eclipse ID, now come into your project, open your project. If you want to create any test class, so all the test classes we have need to place under SRC test Java package. So here, select this folder SRC test Java. Under SRC test Java, we can right click and first of all, we are going to create a package. So go to the new option. Here there is option is a package, and here we can create one package with name testing. So whatever testing classes we have required to, we are going to place under testing package. Let's now we move to the next concept. Okay, this is our TestNG installation. So in this way, we can configure TestNG in our Eclipse ID. And after installing the TestNG Eclipse ID, then you can restart your Eclipse ID once. Now we understand TestNG annotation. TestNG will provide several of annotations. These are several annotations that provided by the TestNG. Let's understand each annotation one by one. So first, we try to understand how we can use TestNG annotation. So these are annotations. TestNG will provide several annotations. Let's understand which annotation when we need to use. So now I'm going to create one first TestNG class. So go to the Eclipse ID. Under testing package, you can right click, go to the new option. I have created one class. I give the class name like demo01 underscore testng underscore annotation. Now you can click on a finish button. Now class is created. After creating a class, let's now we create one test case. How we can define test case? Let's understand how we can define test case. So if you want to define any test case, so go to your test class. Inside test class, you can define one method. Like you can write public. Your test case method should be public and should be wide. You can write wide, and then you can give your test case method name, any name as per your requirement. Suppose I give just name like test, and then followed by parenthesis, then open curly braces, close curly braces. Now this is a one method, this is a one method, but this is a normal Java method. Inside this method, you can write your code, but this is a normal Java method. This is not a test case. How we can mark this method as a test case method? To mark this method as a test case method, TestNG will provide one annotation that is called as a test annotation. So you can use one annotation at the rate test annotation. You can check it. This annotation available in org.testng package, that annotation package. Now this annotation actually make a class or method as part of the test. If you want to mark your method as a test case method, then you can annotate your method using at the rate test annotation. So once you annotate your method using at the rate test annotation, now your method will mark as a test case method. Now inside this method, we can write any test case logic, whatever you have required. So let's suppose we have just written inside a test case, method. I'm writing just like inside test case method. Now we have defined very simple test case method first. Now we want to run this. I want to run this test case. How we can run this test case? So if you want to run this test case, so right click on your TestNG file. You can check you have created this test class file. You can right click on your test class file. There is option run as. And here you can select, you can check a TestNG test. So we want to test our test case. We want to run our test case on TestNG platform. So once you add the TestNG plugin, then you are able to find out this option, TestNG test. You can click here, TestNG test. And once you click on that, you can check here. Now your test case is run. Now you can check it. This is a TestNG platform where we have run our test case. Now it's showing green color. Green color means your test case is passed. How many test case you have written? One test case you have written. Out of one test case is passed. One test case is passed and zero test case is failed. And now one more thing. What your test class name? Your test class name is, you can check here, whatever name you have given, demo underscore demo01 underscore test ng underscore annotation. This is your test class name. Under this test class, we have one test case method. What is the test case method name? Test. It means whatever name you have given for your test case created with that name. So now one test is created with what name? Test name. So this is a way you can create a test case using TestNG. And you have option here, you can check here, run option here directly. If you click here also, then also you are able to run your test case. Now your test case is run and you can check in the console also what we have displayed. We have displayed inside a test method. Now test method gets executed. Now we understand another annotation, another annotation of TestNG. So you can check it, there are several annotation will be provided by the TestNG. So now my requirement, suppose sometimes what we want to, when we are executing test case, before executing, actually test case, we want to execute some logic. Your test case is the actual test case, but before going to execute test case, we want to execute some logic. How we can execute? You are defining a test class. You can check here. You are defining test class. Inside test class, yes, no, we can say just like this is a test class. Inside test class, yes, no, you can define n number of test case. You can define n number of test case. You can define public void test1. Test1, you can define n number of test case. As per your requirement, you can define n number of test case. Suppose sometimes my requirement, I want to execute some piece of code before executing all that test case. And sometimes I want to execute some piece of code after executing all test case of the corresponding test class. Or sometimes my requirement, yes, no, I want to execute some piece of code before executing each test case method. So what my requirement? Let's understand. Suppose we have one test case. This is our test case. You can define multiple test case as per your requirement. This is a test case. Suppose this is a test case 1, test 1, and now we have test 2. So what my requirement? I want to execute some piece of code before executing all test case. And sometimes we want to execute some logic before executing after test. And sometimes we want to execute before executing each test case. So here you can check here, TestNG will provide several testing life cycle annotation. So let's understand one by one. Here first we understand before method annotation. Let's we understand first before method. So before method annotation, it will run before each test case method. Okay, let's understand what is a before method annotation. So I have defined one method. Just go to your Eclipse ID and check here. Inside this test class, I have defined one more method. Suppose I give the method name like, yes, no, before method. You can give any name as per your requirement. I have just written inside before method. Now this method I have annotated using before method annotation. Which annotation? Before method. And then we have defined one more method, after method. I have defined before method. Then we have defined one more method, after method. So let's we define after method. And after method we have annotated using after method annotation. Let's understand what is the difference. So this is the after method. Just we have annotated using after method annotation. So here in this class, you can check here, there are three methods we have defined. One is a test case method. And we have defined one method that we have annotated using before method annotation. And one method we have annotated using after method annotation. Let's run this test case. We are running the test case. You can check here. Once you run this test case, and now you can check here your output. Your test case is passed, but check in the console. You have run the test case, but before running test case, you can check here. That method gets executed that you have annotated before method annotation. That method gets executed automatic that you have annotated before method annotation. And that method also gets executed automatic that you have annotated using after method annotation. It means before method and after method. Before method gets executed before executing test case, and after method annotation gets executed after executing the test case. Okay, how many test case we have defined? We have defined one test case. Let's we define one more test case. So I change the name of the method test1. Now similar, I define one method test case 2, test2. So test1 case method, I give the name just like, and test2 case method. Now you can save it and run this all test cases. Run all. So running all the test cases, there are two test cases we have. Now check the console. In the console, you can check here. Actually, before executing test case 1, which method gets executed that you have annotated before method annotation. And after executing that test case, which method executed? After method gets executed. Then again, before method executed, before executing test case 2. And then after method gets executed. It means before method annotation, before and after method annotation gets executed before executing each test case. So it will run before each test method. So it will run, remember this point, before method, it will run, yes, no, it will run. I have written here, it will run, it will run, it will run before each test method, each test method. So it means if you want to execute any piece of code that needs to be executed before executing each test method, you can define one method. Inside that method, you can place that line of code, and that method you can annotate using before method annotation. So before method annotations, it means that method it will run before each test method. And after method means it will run after each test method. So how many test cases? Suppose you have defined two test cases. It means this method executed how many times? Two times. It means after and before, yes, no, executing each test case. So this is a before annotation and after annotation. So after annotation and before annotation actually helps. Just know if you want to execute any method before each test method, then method you can annotate using before method and before before method and after method annotation. Let's now we want to understand before class annotation. Next, before class. Before class, actually, it will run before the first method in the current class is invoked. Before first test method in the current class is invoked. So it means the method gets invoked that you have annotated using before class annotation before the first method in the current class is invoked. Let's understand before class and after class annotation. So here we have defined, yes, no, two more methods. like just like before class and after class. So just we have copied here and we can paste in our Eclipse ID. Let's now we have paste. So now you can check here in this our test class, how many test cases we have defined. There are two test cases is available. There are two test cases is available. So you can check there are two test cases available. Now you can check it before class annotation. What is the use of? Let's run all the test cases. Once you click run all, now it will run all the test case in the current class available. So in the current class, you can check here there are two test case available, test 1, test 2. Now you can check in the console output. You can check here. Okay. Now here you can check here which one gets executed first before class and how many times executed before class. Then you can check here and only one time executed. And then at the end you can check here after class method executed. It means before class annotation invoke how many times? Only one times. It means before class annotation gets invoked before executing first test case in the current class. So before executing first test case, yes, no, first tuple before class executed and before method annotations, yes, no, it will run before each test case method. So if you want to execute only one time, yes or no, before executing all test class, before executing first test class in the current class, if you want to execute some piece of code, you can place under before class annotations. Before class annotation. Now you can check here first before class, then before method, then your test case, then after method, yes, then before method, then test case, after method, and now after class executed, it will run after executing last test case of the current class. Now you can read this point also. If you go back and you can read after class, it will run after all the test method in the current class have been run. So after running all the test method in the current class, then after class annotated method will invoke. So before class, you can check before class, it will run before the first test method in the current class is invoked. And after class, it will run after all the test method in the current class have been run. Now we understand here before test. What is a before test? Actually, it will run before any test method belonging to the classes inside the test tag is run. Okay, what is a test tag? We will discuss, yes, no, when we discussing the SU, what is the test case. But first understand what the use of before test and after test. Let's now here we define, yes, no, two more methods that we have annotated using before test and after test. So let's we copy this and now we have defined two more methods that we have annotated using before test and after test. Now let's put here and now save it. Now you can import before test. You can just press Control space together, automatic it will import. And now you can save your file. And after saving your file, now you can run your all the test case. You can click run all option. And now you can check the output. Go to the console screen and check here. First tuple which one executed before test method, then before class, then before method, then your test case executed. After executing test case, after method gets executed. After method executed, then before method again executed, then test case, then after method, then after class, and then after test method. So it means before test and after test also. Now before class and after class, we have seen before class and after class. You can check here. Before class and after class gets invoked then after all the test method in the current class have been run. But after test, it will run after all the test method belonging to the classes inside the test tag have been run. And before test, it will run before any test method. Before any test method belonging to the class inside the test tag run. Okay, what means of test tag run? Okay, for understanding this point, we need to understand first of all what is a test suite. So let's understand first what is a test suite. Here we have one more annotation also, actually before suite and after suite. But before understanding this annotation, we have need to understand what is the test suite. Okay, test suite is nothing we can say is a group of test suite is a group of test cases. Yeah, we can say bunch of test cases that group for any specific purpose. So suppose you have designed a test cases, yes, no, for any space to test any specific functionality, you have required several test cases. So you can create one test suite. So test suite actually is a collection of test cases to test a behavior, a set of behaviors of program. In simple terms, we can say test suite are nothing is a grouping, a collection of test cases to run a single job with different scenario. So you can create a test suite. Test suite means collection of test cases. Let's understand how we can create a test suite. Okay, let's understand how we can create a test suite. If you want to create a test suite, so test suite in TestNG you can create by creating one XML file. Let's here I will show how you can create that XML file. And now here you can check here. Yeah. If you want to create a test suite means is a group of a collection of test cases that we have designed for a specific scenario. Suite means each collection of test case. So you can design collection of test cases, yes, no, for running a bunch of test cases. So let's how we can create a test suite. Go to the Eclipse IDE. In this Eclipse IDE, you can check here we have one folder src test resources folder. Under this folder, yes, no, we can create one XML file. XML file, using that XML file, we are creating the test suite. So right click and new, and here you can select option file, and here you can create one file with name testng.xml. You can create one file with name testng.xml file. I required one file, yes, no, testng file. Now in this testng file, yes, no, let's understand we need to write a suite. So let's be writing the suite. How we can write a suite? Go to the your XML file. Now here we have pasted. Let's understand. If you want to create a suite, you can check here. How we can create a suite? So in the testng.xml file, you can create one XML file. In this XML file, you can use one tag that is a suite tag. Using suite tag, you can create a suite, TestNG suite. How to create a TestNG suite? We can create TestNG suite using the suite tag. You can use suite tag. Within a suite tag, you can use one tag that is a test tag. Actually, in this suite, you want to include yes or no test. Which test? You can use suite. Within a suite, you can use test tag. And now you can give your test name, whatever you want to give. You can give any name. Suppose I give just name like here test. Actually, this test cases you have designed for which scenario, you can give a test suite name. So first you have create suite, and while you creating the suite, then that time also you can give a name for the suite if you want to give a name for suite. So what is the name for the suite? You can provide name for the suite. I want to create one suite with some name. So whatever name, suppose as of now I have just given the suite name. What I have given name as a suite name. So TestNG.xml is a configuration file actually. You can create one file for organizing and executing test in the TestNG. So you can create one XML file, and inside that XML file, you can create and handle multiple test classes that you want to handle. Now, first of all, in this, once you create this file, you can use suit tag. Within a suit tag, you can create a test tag. Within a test tag, you can use classes tag. Classes. And now under this suit, yes, no, under test suit, how many test classes we want to include? So under classes tag, you can use class tag, and here you can give the name of the class that you want to include under this suit. Any number of the test classes that you want to include, you can place those test classes. You can include those classes using class tag. In the class tag, we have one attribute name. In the name attribute, you can give the name for those classes that you want to include. Let's understand one by one each scenario. So suppose as of now, we have defined only one test class. Which test class? I have defined one test class, demo, one test ng annotation. One test class we have defined. So in this test class, whatever test cases we have defined, I want to create one test suite, and in that test suite, I want to include all yes no test cases that are available in this test class. I want to include all those test cases that are available in this class. So I have created one suite. We can create a suite using suite tag. Under suite, we can add test tag. Under test tag, we can add classes tag. And under classes tag, you can use class tag. In the class tag, you can give the name for your test class. So your test class name is a demo underscore test ng annotation that are available under testing package. Go to the here testng.xml file, remove this name, and you can give your class name that you want to include. Under testing package, we have one class demo underscore testng underscore annotation. Now in this suite, I have include this test class. It means when you run this suite, so it will run all those test cases that are available in this class. So in this class, whatever test cases are available, remember this point, whatever test cases are available, all those test cases it will run. So how you can run your suite? Now what we want to run our suite. We have created a suite. Suite means, it's clear, suite means is a bunch of test cases that can be grouped for a specific scenario. So if you want to create a suite in TestNG, you can create a suite using one XML file. You can create one XML file under SRC test resources folder. And this XML file, first you can use suite tag to create a suite. You can open suite tag and close the suite tag. Within a suite tag, you can use your test tag. And now within a test tag, you can use your classes tag. Actually, which classes you want to include, the classes is the tag. Under classes tag, whatever classes, if any class test class you want to include in this test suite, you can use class tag and you can give the name of your that class that you want to include. So this is a basic structure to create a suite. So let's now we have create a suite. In this suite, we have include this test class. Now we want to run this suite. If you want to run this suite, so right click on your testng.xml file, and there is option here run as, and now it will give option test suite. This means now you can run as a test suite. Now you have run this test suite, and now you can check here your test suite is run. You can check you are running the suite. What is your suite name? Your suite name is a suite. What your name you have given? Suite. Yes, no? Under that suite, you can check. We have this test. Yes, no? You can check it. You have run as a suite. We have run this suite. This suite name is suite. And now under this suite, we have this test. You can check it. In this suite, we have test. Which test is included? This test class we have included. Demo 1. Under this demo 1 ng annotation class, how many test class cases available? There are 2 test cases. All those test cases we have included. Now you can check here. Output also. First of all, which run before test. So now you can understand. So before test method annotation. Now you can check here what is the use of before test annotation. Before test annotation, you can check here. Before test annotation run actually when run before running a test case that you have include in test tag. Now you can go back once again and read this point one again and you will get clear picture. Before test, it will run before any test method belonging to the class inside the test tag. And now after test, you can check it will run after all the test methods. Yes, no, belonging to the class inside that test tag have been run. So before running, you can check here. And now go to your, you can check here. Before running, go to your suit, you can check in this suit, you can check within a test tag, which classes include this. Before running any test, yes, no, uh, test class that you have include inside test tag in the suit. Okay, suppose I have created one more test class. Just check here. If you run, if you save, and now I give name like just like demo to TestNG annotation. Okay, go to the demo to this is a next test class. Okay, I have give the test class test cases name like test 3 and test 4. Suppose this is a test 3 and this is a test 4. Okay, check the behavior first. I have just made these changes. How many test classes we have? There are two test classes we have. Suppose my requirement, I want to include both test classes in our suit. When we run suit, so suit, when we running the suit, all those test classes needs to be run. All those test classes methods needs to be included. So go to the your suit file under classes. If you want to include one more test class, you can use class. And here you can use name attribute, name equal to, you can give your name. What is your name of your class? Testing. Under testing package, we have demo 2, TestNG underscore annotation. Now you can save. Now in our suite, we have include two classes. Now we run it. If you run it, run as TestNG suite. Now you can check first of all in your this your suite. Under this suite we have test. Under test you can check it. There are two test classes under this suite. Now this is a demo 1, this is a demo 2. And under demo 1 we have test 1, test 2. Under demo 2 we have test 3 and test 4. Now go to the console and check the behavior. So before test, yes, no? Okay. We have designed before test suppose only one time. Because here also we have defined before test. So it will run here also. Okay, we have, let's we run this. We remove this, all this method from the demo 2 class. Not required. Okay. Remove this. And let's run again our suit. Now suit has only two test case method. Run as TestNG suit. Now check the behavior. You can see before test method. And then before class. So before test you can check here. How many times executed? One time. Why? Because before test you can check. Before test method include before executing any test class that are available within a test tag in the suit. So you can check a before test case executed, then before class, then before method, then test case 1, then after method, before method, test 2, after method, after class, and then you can check it your test 3 and test 4. And after test you can check it when executed, after test executed, all those test cases, whether it belongs different test cases, yes, no? Actually, in your suit, how many test classes you have included? There are two classes. इसमें before test and after test will invoke before invoking all the test cases that are embedded, that are available under test tag. So all the test, yes, no, before executing any test case, yes, no, any test case of all test classes that are available within a test tag. And after test, you executed after all the test cases that are available under test tag in the source. So that's why here you can check here after test executed, after executing test 3 and test 4. Test 3 and test 4 available in different classes, different test class. But these test classes we have included in our suite, in our suite. So this is a before test and after test. But before class, actually, yes, no, yeah, before test, it will before class, it will run before the first method in the current class. Whatever current class you are invoking, in the current class, any test case method available, so it will run before the first method that in the current class is invoked. But before test, it will run before any test method that belonging to the classes inside the test tag is run. That is a difference. Okay, now we have before suit method also. Before suit annotation. So let's understand what is a before suit. Actually, it will run before all the tests inside the test suite. So if you have created suite inside test suite, if you want to run any piece of code before all the tests that are available inside the test suite, then that logic you can place under before suite. So you can use before suite and after suite also. Let's we define one method, yes, no, inside our test class. So our test class is a demo1 TestNG annotation. Now in this class, we have defined two more methods by annotating at the rate before suit and after suit. So before suit, after suit. Before suit will run before all test cases, before running all test cases that are available in your suit. So it means it will run before all the tests inside the test suit. And after suit will run after all the tests inside the test suite. So this is our test suite. In this test suite, we have included two test classes. So before running, yes, no, all the tests in the suite before suite gets executed. If you run it, you can check it. TestNG annotation, TestNG suite, and now you can check it. First of all, which method executed before suite, then before test, then before class, then before method. So this is the flow of execution. So now here we have seen, yes, no, we have run all these test cases. This is a way you can run your test cases. So these are annotation that is a very helpful annotation. And now you can check here what is the order it follow. It follow the order. You can check here. When you're using this annotation, first of all, which one executed? First one, it will execute before suit. We can say before suit S means suit. And then before test, S, T means test. And then before class, C. And then M, and then your test case. Okay, you can remember in this way, STCM. STCM means you can say first of all before suit gets executed, then before test, and then before class, and then before method, and then your test case. We can say test case, yes, no? Then test case, and then you can check the same after method, after class, and after test, and then after suit. So this is order. How you can remember? STCM. STCM. STCM means first of all before suit, then before test, then before class, and then before method. Then test case. Then go to the reverse order. After method, after class, after test, and after suit. So this is a way that you can remember. So these are annotation will provided by the TestNG. TestNG will provided several annotations. Here we have some more annotation like parameter annotations also. You can check here. We have discussed before method, after method, before class, before test, after test, before suit, after test. Here we have another annotation also, optional annotation, parameter annotation, or data provider annotation also. So let's understand first these annotation, optional annotation and parameter annotation. What the optional and parameter annotation? Okay, while you creating a test suite, I have created one test suite file. In this test suite file, if you want to configure any parameter, suppose I want to configure some parameter and those parameter value we want to supply to our method, test case method. So if you want to supply those parameter value our test case method, you can configure parameter also. So you can check here in TestNG classes, yes, no, you can configure the parameter also. So parameter, how we can configure, let's understand with example, then we can get more idea. Okay, so here I have go to our suite class. In the suite class, go to our demo2 annotation file. So you can check in the demo2 annotation file, we have defined two test case, test3, test4. Now in this test3 and test4, let's in this class I define one more method, just like I give the method name like public void setup method. I just give the setup method. Now this method actually required suppose one two parameter. I define one method with parameter. You can check this is a non-parameter method. It will not take any parameter. Now here we define one parameter like string, and now suppose browser. I will okay. I want to pass a browser name. Yes, no. So just like I define one method, setup method. Suppose you want to launch a browser while you writing the suppose automation script, you need to launch a browser. Which browser needs to be launched? That browser value we want to pass as a parameter. So here we define one method, setup method. It will take one parameter. Now this method we have annotated actually using before class annotation, before class. And now go to your TestNG suite file. In the suite, you can say within a suite, if you want to configure any parameter, so within a suite, you can use there two tag that is a parameter tag. Using parameter tag, you can configure the parameter. So within a suite, if you can write parameter tag and you can use parameter tag. You can say parameter tag. Using parameter tag, you can configure the parameter. So here we are using one parameter tag. In this parameter, you need to use two attributes. One attribute is the name. What the name for this parameter? I want to create one parameter with what name? I given the name like browser. And what the value? I have given a value as a Firefox, whatever. So it means while you creating a parameter, then you can use two attributes. Name. In the name attribute, you can give your parameter name. In the value attribute, you can give the value for your parameter. So I have created one parameter. If you want to create more than one parameter, then that number of parameter tag you can use. Suppose I want to create one more parameter, then you can create one more parameter tag. You can give some name and you can give some value. So here we created one parameter. Now this parameter value, what is the name for this parameter? Browser. And what the value? Firefox. Now this parameter value we want to bind with our this method parameter value. This parameter, yes, no, in the suite, whatever parameter name we have, that parameter value we want to bind with our test case method parameter. So for that, here we are using one annotation at the rate parameter annotation. You can check we have one annotation parameters annotation. You can check here we have an annotation parameters annotation. Now you can read what is a parameter annotation. So parameters annotation in the test method used to fetch simple parameter value from the parameter tag mentioned in the testng.xml file. So using parameter tag, using parameter annotation in the test method used to fetch simple parameter values from the parameter tag that you have mentioned in the testng.xml file. So what is the name you have mentioned? You can pass that name. You can check here parameter tag, and then you can check here. Here you can write curly braces within double quote, curly braces. Now, what is the name of your parameter? You can check here. Sorry. Uh, Curly braces. And what is the parameter name? Parameter name is a browser. Now, this parameter value will be bind with this our test case method parameter. Now it will bind. Now you can check here if you want to print browser equal to plus whatever method parameter name browser. So now this browser parameter value, okay, you can, what is the name of your parameter? Browser. Now parameter annotation helps to fetch basically parameter values that you have mentioned, that you have configured under testng.xml file using parameter tag. Okay, let's we run our suite and we can check what is the output. If you run as, go to the testng suite and now you can check. Go to the console, check, and now you can check it. You are able to read the value. What is the value of Firefox? What the value? Firefox. Okay. Go to the, you can check in this way, very simple way. Parameter tag actually helps to bind, yes, no, your parameters that you have configured in testng.xml file with our test case method parameter. How many parameters we have to configure here? Two, you can check here. Sorry, one we have configured. If you want to configure one more, so you can configure one more. I have just like given our name attribute, suppose. Name I given, suppose, yeah, author. Suppose I give the name author. Yes, no? Author. Suppose author name I given like John. And now you can save. Now there are two parameters we have configured. Now here within a curly braces, now you want to specify second parameter. What is the second parameter? Author. Now your method needs to take how many parameters? Two parameters. String author. And now you can display that author name parameter value also. System.out.println author. And now let's here we are writing author. Now you can check here. It's simply actually browser parameter value. It will bind with yes, no, with this method parameter this, and author parameter value will bind with this method parameter. Okay, let's run your suite. Right click, run as testng suite. If you run your testng suite, now you can check here in the console what the browser value Firefox and author value is John. Suppose guys, one more use case is possible. Go to your testng.xml file. Suppose someone given different name. Yeah, there might be chance. Yes, no. There is no parameter configured with those names. Your parameter name may be missed. If parameter name is missing, then what happens? You can check here. Suppose now we have given different name. Now there is no parameters configured with name browser and author. Now you can check here. You will get some error. You can check here. Okay, now you are getting something, you are not getting something. Your test case you can check here is failed, yes, no? Because in this, due to which reason you can check a setup method, yes, no? Because setup method take a parameter, yes, no? It's showing error also, yes, no? And there is no math parameter actually available with that name. Okay, there might be chance whatever parameter that you're using, those parameter may be missed. Suppose if their parameter value is missed, then I want to use some default value. So how we can specify default value for our test case method parameter? You want to specify default value for our test cases method parameter, then you can use @optional annotation. So suppose if the parameter browser suppose not present, suppose if the parameter is missing in testng.xml file, or if there is any mismatch in a variable name, Then test will take the default value, and that default value you can mention using optional annotation. So using optional annotation, you can specify the default value for your test case method parameter. Go to the demo file, and now here this test case takes two parameters. Now first parameter you can annotate, yes, now using optional annotation. And here you can pass your default value. Okay, suppose I pass the default value as a age. Whatever your choice, whatever default value you want to give. Suppose if parameter is missing, yeah, name is not match, yeah, name is not matching with specified parameter, then whatever default value needs to be set, then it takes default value as a age. Okay, suppose author name, author parameter is not available, then you can use optional annotation here, optional, you can say optional annotation, and here you can specify default value. What the default value I give, suppose Peter I give just like. Now you can check here, now run your suit, and now you can check here, run as TestNG suit. And check in the console. And now you can check here, what the value, age and Peter. Why? Because this parameter name is not matching in those parameters that you have configured in suit using parameter tag. If it is not matching, then we want to set default value for this test case method parameter using optional annotation. Using optional annotation, we can specify yes, no, the current parameter is optional, and TestNG will pass specified default value if parameter is not available, yeah, parameter name is mismatched. Okay, now we change the parameter name. If parameter name is matched, then it will take this value, whatever value you have mentioned in this parameter, then it will not take a default value. So now run this test and suit, and now you can check your, now you can check what the value it will take, Firefox, and author name is John. So these are annotation, yes, no, parameter annotation and optional annotation. So using parameter annotation, you can check here, yes, no. So parameter annotation, actually, what is the use of parameter annotation? Parameter annotation is the test method is used to fetch simple parameters values from the parameter tag mentioned in the testng.xml file. So here we have discussed most of all the annotation. We have discussed before method, after method, before class, after class, before test, after test, before suit, after suit, and optional and parameter annotation. And what is the data provider annotation that we'll discuss in next session? We discuss data-driven approach, that time we will discuss. Now I hope it's clear what is a TestNG and what is the use of this annotation. Thank you so much.